That it's a crook. Well, I'm not a crook. I've earned everything I've got.
Patay ino yun,
patay na yun.
baboy, malay, tay, lamintinan ko. Lamintinan ko. Tinan ke murong muan na baboy mo. Baboy.
May.
Bali tepun, luko bali tepun, luko meneng ngarantinan. Uban na sa barat ng dua anak ne. Untuk ngelapek ini matang kitinan, si ultiva itu pun atau bayar adang neh mereka. Ultiva barat taman awak mai matang tina. My name is Ian Mackenzie and I'm from Vancouver, Canada. Well, I've been coming to Sarawak for a very long time. The first time was 1991. And it's always been related to the Penans in one way or another. And originally I came to help out with their efforts to save their lands from logging. But soon enough I realized that as one person, unfortunately, there's really nothing I can do, as a foreigner especially. But because my background is in linguistics, what I could do is I could help record their language and therefore help preserve their language. And eventually, once I learned how to speak Penan well enough, I've been coming back every year for 23 years now, once, twice, 3 times a year. Once I knew the language well enough, I could start studying their old stories. But first I had to find a good storyteller, and I've created this whole treasure house of literature, which is now in written form, in Penan. And much of it now translated into English, and I'll be making it available to the Penan people in written form very soon. We've already started the project, and it will be published in English as well. I have one book out about the Penan, which was done a very long time ago, mostly photographs, before we knew very much about them. But so this is anyway, it's turned into my life's work. So this is why I'm here. And this is why I'll be coming back for as long as I can. Well, the Penan people certainly look at the world very, very differently from the way Westiti people look. And originally, I kind of assumed or thought that because they were nomadic and lived therefore quite a different lifestyle from the settled people like the Kalabits and the Kenyas and the Kayans and so on, that they would think in a very different way. But no, actually I'm not so sure. I think there's actually a lot of very great similarity between these cultures, which is logical because they've been living together for hundreds of years, and there's a lot of cultural transfer. And so when I talk to some of the Kalabit elders through translation, I get a sense, I feel very comfortable with them. I think I understand how they think. I mean, I understand what kind of question to ask. I know what kind of thing that I can ask, what kind of thing could not even be translated. Because there are a lot of things you can't even translate into Penan, because they don't have words. Even something as simple, I don't know about Kalabit, you tell me, but there's even the word for time. I mean, of course, time has many different meanings, one time. So, because they don't have the concept of this time like a river flowing, because it doesn't mean that they don't know they're going to get old and die. Of course they do. It doesn't mean they don't know that one thing happens after another. Of course they know that. But they don't talk about it. See, we're obsessed with time in the West. We're absolutely obsessed. We're obsessed with aging.
Because of the watch.
Yeah,
the invention
exactly.
of the watch.
They don't even have, and they have mirrors now, but they never use it. I think actually most of the Penans do want to change. And they did start changing quite radically in the 60s and 70s when the majority of them settled. And they have been changing very rapidly and assimilating into Malaysian society. And the Kalabits are more advanced on this, which is both good and bad, because your people make more money now, more speak English and are more successful. On the other hand, you're losing your culture faster. You're like a generation advanced. So, the more traditional Penans, it's only about 300 nomads left when I first came in the 90s, and now they're only a tiny handful of some semi-nomadic families. it's a big sacrifice to make, to go from a lifestyle which is in many ways better. I mean, the downside is you don't have any possessions, and possessions are very addictive. But if you're willing to not have any possessions, you work less. You live in the cool forest, and you just do less work.
But you possess the whole jungle.
You possess the whole jungle in a sense, but you don't have any of the things. And they look at all the things. They look at the radios and the watches and the motorbikes and the cars. And once they start on that road, you see, even if they know how to go back, they're not going to go back and abandon the motorbike. It becomes like an addiction, right?
Yeah.
Like a consumption thing. I mean, that's the problem in the West. We're just overly consuming. Everyone has, even poor people have too many things. There's so many things that one can't even find them, right? Even poor people in my country, it's like big houses. So. They've always got things from outside in the past. I mean, they've had this trading relationship with the Kalabits, the Kayans, the Kenyas for probably centuries. So they've always been getting things from the outside through trade and in exchange for jungle products. But at this point, in a way, I think the single thing they need most, and it's probably true for all of the upriver peoples, is they need some kind of recognition and validation as distinct peoples, having valid cultures and languages, rather than just being told that they're primitive and inferior and they should throw it all away and join modern society. I always tell the Penans now that they're settled, they should send their children to school, and they have to learn the ways of the outsiders, because otherwise they will just fail miserably in the future. They'll just be the most underpaid workers on the palm plantations. But, you see, I think you can join the modern world and still keep your traditions and your culture and your language if you want to, if you value it. The problem is they hear the message that it's no good, so they throw it away. And they join the thousands of other peoples around the world who've thrown away their languages and cultures. And now all they have is a name. In my country, most of the indigenous peoples, they only have the name. They speak my language. They don't speak their own language. They don't have their own culture. They don't have their own myths. They have nothing. They just have the name. I don't want to see that happen to the Penans. I don't want to see that happen to the Kalabits.